What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it, smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate that. Also, hit that post notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. If you want to be part of the Wealth Builders financial community on Patreon, all you got to do, guys, is get yourself down to that first link in the description box and click on the Wealth Builders Financial Community Patreon link. It'll take you over to Patreon. All you got to do is sign up and come join the fastest growing financial community on Patreon. So what do we do in that community? Well, we just help each other get to that elusive financial freedom. We help each other get to that elusive passive income. Now, none of us are experts. I'm certainly not one. But we do have a couple thousand wealth builders on that financial community who have all different backgrounds when it comes to their financial experiences. So what we really do in that community is share best practices. We share golden nuggets. We share tips. What's working, what's not working, and we provide a safe place for people to build wealth. Again, none of us are experts. We're not going to try to tell you what to do or any of that stuff. We don't have people in there trying to sell you stuff and upgrade you to courses and all that stuff. We don't do any of that. All we do is we have a robust community chat that's there every single day that the wealth builders can come together and talk amongst themselves. Obviously, you have direct access to me through direct message. So if you want to send me a direct message and chop it up with me about your situation, I'll be more than happy to give you my opinion based on my experience. Again, no experts. Don't try to tell nobody what to do, but I will share my opinion if you ask me. And then, of course, we have live streams every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, Q&A style. And all the wealth builders are there, or at least the ones that want to participate can be there. And then, of course, I make daily posts, whether it be little reels or whether it be videos or whether it be just inspirational stuff for people to grab a hold to and get through that day, right? We all know building wealth is hard, man. It's very, very hard. That's why 150 million Americans don't have any retirement savings, because it's hard. It's not easy. I can't imagine being out here in the matrix alone, trying to build wealth with no financial community as a support group. And I kind of look at us like that, as a financial support group. That's all we are. So if you want to be a part of that, like I said, first link down in the description box is that Wealth Builders Financial Community link. Click on it. It'll take you to Patreon. Sign up, come join us, send me a DM, let me know you're there so that we can get you off to a great start. Well, let's get into some business here. And the business is China has flipped the stock market. Now, China didn't intend to flip the stock market, but they did, sort of like indirectly. Let me explain. Chip stocks came under pressure following a report by the Wall Street Journal that the United States may revoke waivers from some semiconductor manufacturers. Nvidia was down more than 1% on that news, while Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing slid nearly 2%. The Van Eck Semiconductor ETF was lower by nearly 1%. The S&P started off the trading session higher after Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller said that the central bank could cut rates as early as July. Now, for some of you guys who were around this morning when I did my morning video, I mentioned that Christopher Waller, who is a Fed governor, basically came out on record and said we should be getting rate cuts in July. which is different from what the Federal Reserve Chairman said on Wednesday. So you got two Fed members, voting members on the FOMC, basically not agreeing. Now, that news that you had a Fed governor come on record saying that he supports rate cuts in July should have been a positive tailwind catalyst for the market. And for about the first 15 minutes the market was open, it was. But then you get the news about the United States restricting this chip thing, these chips to China from these chip makers. And that sent the market into a tailspin. That's my opinion now. I'm no expert here. This is not financial advice, but it sent the market into a tailspin. Not good. Not good at all when it comes to chip makers, right? Because whether we like it or not, guys, China is a huge market. It's the second largest economy in the world behind the United States economy. Yes, and a lot of your chip makers, they sell chips into China. And now the U.S. may put some restrictions around that, and that was not good news for the NASDAQ 100. It was not good news for the S&P 500. It was not good news for the stock market, the broader stock market. Why? Because some of your most valuable companies in the world are chip makers, like NVIDIA. Either the number 2, number 3 most valuable company in the world is a chip maker. And again, guys, they have been selling into China up until now. Remember, we reported a couple months ago where the president of the United States basically came out and said that NVIDIA put restrictions on NVIDIA and what NVIDIA could sell into China in by way of chips. Remember that H20 chip that NVIDIA was selling into China? Remember when NVIDIA had its Q1 earnings report and NVIDIA had to take a one-time $5.5 billion charge off? That's because they couldn't sell inventory of the H20 chips into China. Now, you got to remember the H20 chip is not their most advanced chip. It's an inferior chip to who? Their most advanced chips. It's inferior. But 47, the United States put certain restrictions on selling that H200 into China. So NVIDIA had to charge down or write down $5.5 billion because of inventory that they can't sell into China. That's what this is all about. And like then, as well as now, the broader stock market investors didn't like that. Now it's not just NVIDIA, it's other companies. Samsung. US may target Samsung and another company called HYNIX. I can't pronounce the name of that company. And Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company operations in China, sources say. Yeah, this is what's starting to happen, guys. And I believe, and this is just my speculation, that this is America's way, or the United States government's way of saying, listen, China, if you don't want to get in line with these tariffs, we're going to hurt you where it hurts you the most, which is these chips. Right? That's my opinion now. I'm just giving you my little 2 cents. Go out and do your own homework and figure that one out. But here we go. The U.S. Department of Commerce is considering revoking authorizations granted in recent years to global chip makers, Samsung, SKHYNIX, and TSMC, making it more difficult for them to receive U.S. goods and technology at their plants in China. Y'all know Samsung is a huge company. Y'all know TSMC is a huge company. Apparently, they have plants in China. Guess who else has been in the crosshairs of the United States government? Apple. Why? Because Apple produces a good majority of their product in China. Remember, China and the United States have the two largest economies in the world, and they're in a tariff war. China has come on record and told America, we're 5,000 years old, guys. America has been here like 2 seconds. We've been here for 5,000 years. And then they went on to say, we will be here another 5,000 years after the United States is gone. Right? So what does that mean? Tensions between the two superpowers. The largest two financial juggernauts on the planet is starting to intensify. So now America is saying, okay, we got something for you. You chip makers that have plants in China, we're going to revoke authorizations granted in recent years. They're going to start revoking. Basically, you do business in China, you manufacture anything out of China, we cutting you off. Pretty much what they're saying here. Pretty much what they're saying here. So, Samsung, SK, and TSMC making it more difficult for them to receive U.S. goods and technology at their... So basically, you ain't gonna be able to send nothing manufactured in the United States to these companies, to their plants in China, especially technology chips. Right? This is coming from, this is according to people familiar with the matter. The chances of the United States withdrawing the authorizations are unclear, but with such a move, it would be harder for foreign chip makers to operate in China, where they produce semiconductors used in a wide range of industries. A White House official said the United States was just laying the foundation or the groundwork in the case the truce reached between the two countries fall apart. See what I told y'all? It all goes back to what? The tariff war. Goes back to the tariff war. So right now, they're supposed to be in some type of truce. Still don't got no deal. Still don't got no deal. Still don't got no trade deal. Or I guess you could say China for imports out of America, right? Exports out of America, imports into China, 10% tariff. That's what China's charging their people. In America, exports out of China, imports into America have a 55% tariff. That's what you got right now, according to my last research I did on the deal on this trade war. A White House official said the United States was just laying the groundwork in case the truce reached between the two countries fell apart. But the official expressed confidence that the trade agreement would go forward and that rare earths, I told y'all, the United States need them rare earth minerals from China. They need them bad. So it says right here, but the official expressed confidence that the trade agreement would go forward and that rare earth minerals would flow from China as agreed. See, United States trying to, you know how it is. Listen, you don't flow them rare earth minerals to us like you said you would. Guess what we're going to do? Samsung, TSMC, SK that have plants in your country where they produce stuff. Guess what? We're going to borrow them from doing business in the United States. Just saying. So America ain't dumb now. 47 and his people ain't. Trust me. They're saying, listen, You act stupid, you cut us off from these rare earth minerals, we're going to do something better. We're going to hit you, these big old gigantic companies that have plants in your country where they produce all this stuff. We're going to cut them off from getting anything from the United States. That's what basically the United States is saying, right? There is currently no intention of deploying this tactic. This is coming from American official. It's another tool we want in our toolbox in case either this agreement falls through or any other catalyst throws a wrench in bilateral relations. So America is basically saying, listen, China, if you want to throw a monkey wrench in this thing, go right ahead. We got a monkey wrench too. And that's what they're saying right here about these potential, right? That's what they're saying about these potential, a revoking of authorizations granted to these companies. Shares of U.S. chip equipment makers that supply plants in China fell when the Wall Street Journal first reported the news earlier on Friday. So I know some of y'all are asking, well, goodness gracious, man, the market took off like a crazy person on fire for about the first 15, 30 minutes of the day when the market opened. But then later in the afternoon, not in the late afternoon, early afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, this news came out. And you could see what started to happen. Boom. How do I know that? Because I planted seeds today. I planted seeds and I thought I might get a harvest today. But when this news hit, no harvest. Hopefully on next week we get a harvest. But the harvest was canceled once this news came out. Harvest was canceled. Shares of U.S. chip equipment makers that supply plants in China fell when the Wall Street Journal first reported the news earlier on Friday. KLA Corp dropped 2.4%. Lam Research fell 1.9%. Applied Materials sank 2%. Shares of Micron, a major competitor to Samsung and SK in the memory chip sector, rose 1.5%. That was their competitor. See, their stock fell, but their competitor's stock went up. Why? Because if the United States revoke authorizations on these companies, that's huge, man. That's huge. A TSMC spokesman declined comment. Samsung and SK did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Lam Research, KLA, and Applied Materials did not immediately respond either. None of them will respond because they're scared to death of 47. 47 got these people in the business world, these corporations, especially in the chip game, into these artificial intelligence. He got all them scared, all of them in line. Zuckerberg in line, Bezos in line, Jensen Huang in line, Tim Cook in line, whoever the CEO of Microsoft, and all of them in line. All the Magnificent Seven companies, guys, have bent the knee. All the Magnificent Seven companies. None of them will come out and say anything negative about 47. 47 has made every Magnificent Seven company and others behind them bend the knee. That's crazy, but they are bending the knee. So 47 has the upper hand, and he knows it. He knows he has the upper hand. And he knows that these companies are going to do whatever they can to not get in his crosshairs. They don't want to be in 47's crosshairs. None of them do. They do not. So 47 has the upper hand on these companies. And none of these other companies I just mentioned, Samsung, TSMC, Lam Research, Applied Materials, KLA, none of them are going to respond. In October 2022, after the United States placed sweeping restrictions on U.S. chipmaker equipment to China, it gave foreign manufacturers like Samsung and SK letters authorizing them to receive goods in their China plants, right? See, they got plants in China. In 2023 and 2024, the companies received what is known as validated end user status in order to continue the trade. 47 threatening to take that away. Just saying, guys, I keep telling y'all, 47, I don't think there's anybody, any company in the Fortune 500 that will go against 47 right now, especially not in technology and artificial intelligence ecosystem. None of them. Your largest companies in the world, which are the Magnificent Seven, they have all bent the knee and kissed the ring. All of them. If you don't believe me, go back to January 20th and roll the tape at the inauguration and see who in the front row of that inauguration. Pretty much all the Magnificent Seven CEOs. Pretty much. You see what Elon Musk did. He tried to break away and get on social media and trash 47. What did he do? Came back and apologized. Now he on the outside looking in. Even though he's the richest man in the world, he can't touch 47, man. 47 got the United States, which is the largest economy, got the best military in the world. He controls all branches of government. The Congress, the White House, and the judiciary, which is the Supreme Court. All of that. So you can't win. So the best course of action for these guys is just to shut up. Not to come out publicly against them because they can't win. He controls the United States Supreme Court. He controls the United States Congress. And of course, he controls the White House. And every cabinet member that's in his administration, they have a blind allegiance to him, whether you like it or not. And these companies know that, see? That's why you're not going to hear anybody come out and speak out. You're not. You're not. A company with VEU status is able to receive designated goods from a U.S. company without the supplier obtaining multiple export licenses to ship them. VEU status enables entities to receive U.S. controlled products and technologies more easily, quickly, and more reliably, as the Commerce Department website puts it. The VEU authorizations come with conditions. A person familiar with the matter said, including prohibitions on certain equipment and reporting requirements. Chip makers will still be able to operate in China, a Commerce Department spokesman said in a statement when asked about the possible revocations. The new enforcement mechanisms on chips mirror licensing agreements that supply to other semiconductor companies that export to China, aka NVIDIA, and ensure the United States has an equal and reciprocal process. So therefore, guess what? China just flipped the stock market. Just flipped it because of this. And now the United States has a bargaining chip. Now, here's the question though. Will China care anything about that? We'll have to see. China may just say, hey man, we don't care about Samsung having a plant here. We don't care about TSMC having a plant here. We don't care about any of these companies that you're trying to throw at us. We don't care. We're going to do what we want to do. China may say that. And these companies may get caught in the crosshairs between the two superpowers, the two largest economies in the world, who are in a trade war battle. And America saying, hey, we know, I believe it was 90 or 180 days, 6 months, that China reserved the right to not supply America with these rare earth minerals. I think they did a deal with America to supply America, but they get the right every 6 months, I believe, to get out of the deal. So America saying, okay, since you got that piece, here's our piece. You get out of the deal, we're gonna hurt the companies that have plants in your country that are vital to some of the things that y'all do in that country. So US got them something in their back pocket. China got something in their back pocket. We'll have to see how this thing goes, man. But here's what I am going to be doing before Monday, June 23rd. I'm going to be looking for opportunities. I'm going to be looking for opportunities because I think there are going to be some opportunities out there, some seed planting opportunities. Again, planted some seeds today, looking for a harvest today, but that's the kind of stuff that happens. And I keep telling you guys, any tweet, any type of move between the two superpowers like China and America could affect the market either in a positive or a negative. And we never know when it's coming. And that's what happened today. Nobody saw that coming. Maybe, well, at least I didn't see it coming. I can't speak for the rest of you folks out there. I didn't see it coming. I just thought, whoa, Fed Governor Waller coming out on record saying rate cuts in July against what Fed Chair Jerome Powell said just on Wednesday. I was like, wow, you got a Fed governor stepping out and saying rate cuts for July. That should have been a positive catalyst, and I think it was temporarily. And then on the flip side of that, you had 47 basically saying, we're going to pause and pump the brakes for 2 weeks on this Israel-Iran conflict in the Middle East. We're not going to do anything for 2 weeks, and then we'll make a decision. That should have been a positive catalyst as well, right? That was such a good positive catalyst for oil that oil prices started coming down. Why is oil prices coming down important? Because energy, the lower oil prices are per barrel, the cheaper energy will be. The higher prices for oil per barrel, the higher energy prices are going to be. And if you got higher energy prices, you're going to have inflation that goes higher. Why? Because energy and housing are the two biggest components of inflation rising. So should have been catalyst, but it wasn't quite enough. Just the rumor of the United States revoking these authorizations for these VEUs from these major companies sent shockwaves through the market. And indirectly, China flipped the market because the market was going pretty dang on good today until that news came out, and then it just flipped and went the other direction. So for me personally, this weekend, I'm going to be out doing me a little research, trying to figure out how do I plant seeds that have an opportunity to harvest themselves by me and get a harvest next week or the week after that or the month after that. Who knows? This thing is such a moving target, guys, because any tweet could negatively or positively impact the markets. So anytime I'm planting seeds, I have to keep that in mind. Whether it be in the long term or the short term, I got to keep that in mind because any tweet or any sudden move by the United States government that could affect one of its largest trading partners, which is China. And you already know China has taken the position that we're not going to bend the knee. I still don't think China will bend the knee. I just don't think they will. Hopefully, China and the United States can work out an agreement that both parties can feel good. Now, here's the thing, and this is the last thing I'm gonna let you go. Anytime you're negotiating with somebody, both parties should feel pain. When you leave that negotiation, you should feel pain. If you're not feeling any pain when you leave, you probably got, you probably got the better end of the deal. You should feel some pain. I think America will feel some pain. I think China will feel pain. Now, America won't know we're feeling any pain because our government ain't gonna tell us that we got outfoxed. They're not gonna tell us that. They're not gonna tell us everything that goes on in negotiations with China. And I don't believe China will tell its people everything, right? Some stuff they're not gonna tell us. That's just part of the propaganda, right? That's just part of telling us only what they believe we need to know. So you gotta get out there and do your own homework. You gotta go out there and be a little Snoopy. Go snooping around. You got to go be a little Sherlock Holmes, a little financial Sherlock Holmes. That's what I plan on doing this weekend, taking a little bit of time and being a little financial Sherlock Holmes. Get out there and start snooping around. Be a little bloodhound, a little financial bloodhound. Do a little snooping around to see if there's an opportunity for me to plant some seeds based on this intel. You may want to do the same thing. Appreciate y'all, man, for rocking with me. Like I said, if you want to be a part of the fastest growing financial community on Patreon, we're called the Wealth Builders. First link down in the description box. All we do in that community is do what? Help each other get to what? Financial freedom, passive income. Nobody in there are experts. Nobody is going to try to tell you what to do. All we do is offer our opinion based on our experiences in a community environment, a safe community environment, free from people trying to sell you a bunch of stuff or courses or all this other stuff. We don't do any of that in there. What we do is help each other by providing our experience through golden nuggets, best practices, what's working, what's not working, right? Tips. Live stream every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, live stream. Just for the Wealth Builders. Just to be able to come into one place and moderated by me. I'm doing the Q&A. But everybody's participating who wants to participate. Everybody don't show up, but that's okay. I'm only concerned with the ones that show up. The ones that have a hunger for freedom. The ones that have a hunger for passive income. The ones that have a hunger for independence. See, there is no financial independence when you're working for somebody. There is no financial independence unless you have assets that generate income while you sleep. If you ain't got that in your life, man, you ain't got no independence. You have dependence. And as soon as somebody feels like you're not doing what you need to do, guess what they're going to do? Boom. Nice having you, Richard, but we don't need you anymore. Thank you for your service, though. We'll give you a 2-week severance, but you're out of here. We're cutting back. We're downsizing. I'm just telling you guys, you got to get yourself independence. And that's one of the things that we talk about in the Wealth Builders is independence compared to dependence. See, a lot of people got that confused. That's why 150 million Americans don't have any retirement savings. Because why? They got the two mixed up. If you don't want to be in that situation, get yourself down to that first link. Click on that Wealth Builders Financial Community link. Take you over to Patreon. Come check us out. Well, appreciate y'all, man. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. I hope to be back tomorrow with a little bit more information. Hope you guys join me. Thank you for stopping by the channel. And if you're stopping by for the first time, please consider subscribing, share the video, smash the like button. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and happiness.